COVID is literally just a foot in the door or the Trojan horse for everything else they have up their sleeves. As always, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Black and White, an opinion-based YouTube channel where we give our black and white opinion on current events.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tyler's girlfriend. So today we're going to be talking about an article I found on Fox. The article reads, New York City to be first in nation to require proof of vaccination for indoor restaurants, gyms, and shows. Mayor is calling the city's vaccine passport the key to New York City Pass. New York City residents and visitors will be required to show proof of vaccination for indoor dining, gyms, and shows, Mayor Bill De Blasio announced Tuesday. The mayor is calling the city's vaccine passport the key to New York City Pass. This is a miraculous place, literally filled with wonders, De Blasio said of the city. If you're vaccinated, that's going to open up to you. You can open the door. If you're unvaccinated, you will not be able to participate in many things. It's time for people to see vaccinations as necessary to living a good, full, and healthy life. De Blasio said New York City is the first in the nation to take this approach. It will launch August 16th and be enforced starting September 13th. The mayor, as well as many other cities across the country and the world, has been trying to incentivize individuals to get the COVID-19 vaccine as the Delta variant continues to spread and claim lives. The proof of vaccination announcement follows last week's announcement about a $100 cash incentive for vaccinations. The cash incentive has proven effective so far, with over 11,000 individuals receiving their first dose of the vaccination in the 4 days since the program started. The mayor announced that 5 million New Yorkers have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine. We're now at this point that we've dreamed of, and we're going to go even farther with a smart mix of incentives and mandates, he said. We're going to use every tool we've got to fight the Delta variant and end the COVID era once and for all. In another article on CNN, just to refrain from being partial on one side, CNN lists the places that won't let you inside without proof of a vaccination. Equinox, SoulCycle, Morgan Stanley, Broadway, and Union Square Hospitality Group. So, I guess let's talk about it.
Well, how do you feel about it?
I do not agree with the vaccine passport at all. I don't think that that is the government's place to mandate in a way that takes away people's autonomy. I think that if the private places, such as Equinox, decided as a private business that they did not want to allow people in unless they were vaccinated, I think that's totally fine for private businesses to decide that. However, I believe it is definitely, or I believe that the government is definitely overstepping their boundaries by mandating that themselves. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard, I mean, we talked about it before, restaurants and gyms and shows is one thing because they're not, essential to living.
Yeah.
It's not like a grocery store or something like that. It's just for me, I agree with you. I don't like the government dictating to people, basically how they can travel and where they can enter. I just don't really like that when you're talking about public places. And, I don't know how they're going to do this. We talked about also, the fact that in New York City, they almost have to have, all these businesses would almost have to have just an extra employee just to be checking vaccination cards. If they're busy enough as it is, to have a regular employee who's also, serving you or, making your food, asking for a vaccine, proof of vaccine, makes things difficult. And then also just people that, as far as we know, the vaccines are extremely safe. There's not a lot of data out there as to whether or not they're effective against this new Delta variant. And the thing is, there's not even a lot of data out there to say how extensive the Delta variant is in the United States as it stands today, right now. Anyway, my issue is too with people that, what if a broad issue is it's a vaccine, okay? The only person that I really trust to tell me whether I should take a vaccine or not is my personal doctor, right? Even a doctor that I haven't met them, you know, a government doctor, there's just something about that. That's where I feel like a lot of people don't have the greatest comfortability with just taking someone's advice on TV. You know, I think the vaccines are good, but my point is that, you know, if someone has an underlying condition and the doctor's saying, well, there could be some risk here for you to get vaccinated with the way that this, you know, vaccine, you know, has been created in the way that it affects the body, it might not be the best thing for you to do. Well, now that person's outcast from society because they have an underlying condition, you know, and then he's saying, you know, rid the world of COVID once and for all forever. And I'm just like, I don't see that happening, especially anytime soon. All the medical professionals I'm hearing from through the news sources that I watch is that it's going to probably be a seasonal thing, and it's going to be around for years and years and years, if not forever. You know, and I think we've also lost sight of the fact that, you know, it's not trying to be unsympathetic to people that have maybe had, you know, people die from COVID, or that be part of the reason why someone passed away. I still don't think that it's as deadly as we are all acting like it is. You know.
I mean, I would argue that it's proven to be pretty deadly, but I don't really see the argument of. I don't see the argument as to be vaccinated or to not be vaccinated, because personally I believe that people should be vaccinated, but I also believe in the free will of man. So if somebody doesn't want to be vaccinated for whatever reason it may be, whether it be health reasons or they just don't want to be vaccinated, I believe that they are definitely entitled to that as well. And that is the risk that they choose to run. However, I don't think that it is the government's place to tell people what to do with their bodies and to create mandates on people. I don't believe that the government was made to only serve people that comply with the government. I think the government was made to serve everybody and every American citizen, including those who choose not to be vaccinated for whatever reason, not only those who are vaccinated. And so, in that same vein, I also don't think there's anything as a foolproof rule. So the government can come up with any mandate they want, any law they want, any rule that they want, but there will always be at least one person that finds a loophole or, you know, a hole in their rule, you know, just like how they were like, well, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask inside, but if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask inside. Obviously, people who were not vaccinated were going to go inside maskless. That was stupid. For this mandate and saying you have to be vaccinated to come inside, people can legitimately just forge a COVID vaccine document, which is already proven. I mean, they're forging them online and selling them. So you don't have to get vaccinated, but if you're asked for proof, you can just buy a fake COVID ID card.
Yeah, and are these
and
people
show
that
it's
are working
proof.
at restaurants, gyms, and, you know, entertainment centers, are they really going to know what a real one's supposed to look like? I mean,
No, just look at all the fake IDs that are
we're-
used in America.
I mean, it's the government. I mean, honestly, my opinion on the government, I don't have a very high opinion. I think everything they do, in large part, they don't provide great service. I mean, you know, we talk about the post office. I mean, that's low-bearing fruit, but I mean, it's true. I mean, but here's the thing. I mean, we all like little sheep. We get on and we watch Dr. Fauci talk about what we should do next. What should we be afraid of? The same guy that lied to us and has pretty much admitted to lying to us because they didn't have enough masks. So he's telling people that masks don't really work that great and we don't need to wear them. We don't have anything to worry about in the beginning of all this. And now look where we are. And we're supposed to still listen to him. We're
Then
still
it's
listening
wear
to him.
2 masks.
It's a joke.
Then 3
It's a
masks.
joke. He should.
And the more masks you wear, the
he
more
should be
protected
fired.
you
He should
are.
not have his job. He should not be working in the government. We should not be listening to him for any advice in any direction when it comes to any virus or disease.
He very much reminds me of the doctors in leadership positions during Nazi Germany. I think you have a totalitarian state. When you give doctors or scientific professional that much power and that much influence over society, because you can basically use their credential to indoctrinate whatever you want the people to believe. And that's not the reason why we send people to medical school. I mean, his job is to protect the livelihood of whoever he's serving. It's not to sit up there in a political manner and mandate and dictate and offer his 2 cents to everybody on a national scale. That's not his job.
Well, and the problem really is that he undermines the very office that he sits in, the very positions that they're trying to take, by being this person that will openly lie. Like, for example, because they don't have enough masks. So he downplays the significance and the importance of masks because they don't have enough in the beginning of all this, and now we're supposed to listen to him about vaccines and what we should do in terms of mandates, what we should do in schools. But yet he lied to everyone. It was proved through his emails that he knew that what he was saying wasn't correct, but he was saying it because they didn't have enough, not because it was true. But yet we're following him for all this guidance. Now, same thing with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Before they got in office, they're saying that they don't trust the vaccine because Trump's tied to it.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Because it's Operation Warp Speed. It got pushed through quick. FDA approval got used for, got approved only for emergency use because of the situation we're in. They're downplaying, everything that's going on. They're hitting at the credibility of the virus or the vaccine, saying that they're not going to take it. And now it's the same vaccine, nothing changed about it. Now because they're in office, they're saying it's fine.
Now this comes a day after the White House said that they would welcome the former president's help in promoting the shot.
It's all political, but it hurts even their own cause. So they sit here and they want to play this blame game where you guys aren't getting back. Well, you told us before you got elected that you didn't trust the vaccine, but now you trust it because you're in power. You're corrupt. You're just corrupt. They're all corrupt. So then when people don't trust them and don't want to go get vaccinated, especially because now, even if you get your vaccine, you need to put a mask on. So I think when it comes to the vaccination, people that I trust believe in the vaccine. I think it's a good thing. I think it's good for people that can get it, but I emphasize can because I think you should go to your personal doctor because that's the person that you've trusted, for X amount of years that you've gone to them for that reason, in large part because you trust them. If everyone's unique. Everyone's unique, and their individual medical history and health is unique to them, and they should make that decision with their doctor.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, because we live in a day and age with urgent care, and people move around a lot, so not many people have the one doctor that they had throughout their entire lifespan. However,
but a doctor that has their medical history in front of them, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying medical histories get lost. Some doctors don't read medical histories. You don't really know. I really believe in doctors. However, you can't say that every single doctor is going to know you well because nobody knows you better than you know yourself. So if you're going to react adversely to a vaccine more than the doctor in front of you will know. And whether the vaccine is something that you want to do or you don't want to do. I mean, obviously consult a doctor if you have had something pop up in your medical history where you're not sure if that would react properly with the vaccine, and you just want to ask questions and everything like that. But obviously trust your instinct. If you don't feel comfortable getting the vaccine, you don't have to get the vaccine. But again, that is your decision. If you're hey, I've never reacted poorly to a vaccine, I'm totally for it, I don't want to run the risk, I want to be at least guarded if I were to catch it, then for sure, go get the vaccine. But yeah, I mean, whichever decision you take, I don't think people on either side should be punished for either of their decisions. I don't think unvaccinated people should be punished by government mandates for not being vaccinated, and I don't think vaccinated people should be punished by government mandates for all those other people who chose not to be vaccinated. I think that the government should just butt out of it, you know? Like the
I've heard
government's
some-
power shouldn't be in private businesses like Equinox and all this stuff. Like it shouldn't be the mayor announcing this and giving out the mandate. It should be Equinox if that's what Equinox
I
wants
mean,
to do.
I really
It
believe to a
should
large
be
extent, if you're
Broadway.
not vaccinated, then you're taking you're taking that risk on your own.
Yeah.
And because you have every opportunity to get vaccinated at this point, everyone does. And so the vaccinated people, I don't really feel should be punished because there's unvaccinated people. Because the vaccinated people have every opportunity to go get vaccinated. And if the vaccinated people are as healthy as they're telling us they are, then they shouldn't have anything to worry about.
And what
So-
if I'm vaccinated, which I'm vaccinated, and I lose my vaccine card? What then? Because you can't laminate it. What if it tears or something happens to it? And somebody's like, where's your
Yeah.
paper?
And
Where's
we
your
just- we
vaccine
just-
card?
and
And
we
I
just-
can't provide it,
and
but
we
I'm
just- and
vaccinated.
we-
But I really see this ending in only one way. I see it ending in riots. I see it ending in civil unrest. I see it happening. I just see it going horrible, like most everything that has really happened with the government over the last, year. I just see people rioting. I see people defying it. I see people finding a way around it. I mean, even in Paris, there are thousands of people in the streets protesting because of vaccine passports that they have there, and they claim that their freedoms are dying. You know, the government is, I think, just perpetuating this thing, and I don't think the government wants COVID to go away. I don't think the government wants COVID to go away. I think the government wants COVID to stay because they haven't been able to get away with enacting so much power probably since the foundation of America as a country. I don't know.
I just see more, I don't know. I really don't know. I just feel like the New York thing and the way that the president's talking could set a precedent, you know, for the rest of the country as far as lockdowns are concerned and all these mandates.
I agree.
You know, and it seems like they like to tie them to other things, like they like to, and time them politically. And I just don't have a lot of confidence. I don't have a lot of confidence in what they do, what they speak, and, you know, what they supposedly stand for, because there's so much going out about, you know, public health and you know, you're talking about rioting. I think a lot of people are upset because they feel like the government's infringing on their rights when a lot of them have done what they've been asked to do for this entire time. Most of the country has done exactly what we've been asked to do. Yet they don't seem to be interested in shutting down the border when, I mean, you're talking about a Delta variant that's coming from wherever it's coming from. All these other Lambda variant, you hear about all these weird names.
All these new friggin' variants. Next is going to be Gamma variant.
And
God.
the border is not locked down the way it should be.
Not
and
secure at all.
and then all these people are just going out into the country in different areas, wherever their family is that's already here, or just wherever they please, and then they're given a citation and said, hey, show up at the court at this date. But they're going all over the country. You got Joe Biden arguing with Governor DeSantis and Governor Abbott in Texas, and yet he's doing nothing to shut down the border and get it under control. And then you have these people going to Florida, going to Texas, going all over the place. And so I can't really take them seriously when they talk about, you know, wanting the best for the country and wanting everyone to be healthy and safe and, you know, vaccinated. And that all these mandates are for our best interest. You know, it's for our own good. I don't buy it. I don't really think that they're out for our best interest. I think they're out to control us, and this is just another way they can control us. And
I
that's,
agree.
It's as simple as that.
I agree. Because once they weed out all the people that aren't going to follow, and once they cripple them, whether it be financially or through restrictions of where they can go or what they
Yeah.
can do,
I'm watching.
then they will begin to enact other heinous.
Yeah, they're talking about this. There's like little whispers in some news stories that I've seen, or some like Ben Shapiro, for example, like they're talking about a social credit score. So you basically get a credit score based on what's on your social media, how you interact in society, what your political views are, basically how good you've been in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there yet, but there's like it's almost like you can just feel it, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that once it, like I was saying before, once they're able to weed out all the rebels and other people that think for themselves and don't follow along like blind sheep, or who just don't agree with him in general, they will begin to enact other heinous, more irrational mandates, laws, things that they think we should do, things that they think people should do, and it's going to go beyond, eventually it'll go beyond COVID.
Well,
I think
yeah.
COVID is literally
And
just
that's
a
the-
foot in
and
the
this-
door,
that's
or
the-
the Trojan
Yeah.
horse for everything else they have
And
up
the
their sleeves.
scariest part about that is that Facebook and Twitter and all these media organizations and social media, they're in the back pocket of the White House and the government. And they've now taken this stance of like, we are the misinformation police or the information police. And anything, it's basically anything that we deem, inappropriate or anything we don't like, we're just gonna take down.
You know what thought I
And
had
that's
the
what's
other
scary
day?
is because they're really, what they're doing is they're dictating, in some sense, the truth.
Yeah.
They're writing the truth, they're defining it, they are dictating what we believe and what we don't believe, and often I think people just take it at face value, and it's really unfortunate because I don't think they have our best interests as well. And a whole society builds itself on these ideas, and oftentimes, they're built to be manipulative or deceiving. Another thing I'll say is, and this is basically the last point I have, is the things that the CDC is doing right now, like with the eviction moratorium. Even Joe Biden himself admitted it pretty much. I mean, he kind of tried to take it back in the same sentence, which is really weird because he's like contradicting himself in less than 2 seconds. But even he admitted originally that the eviction moratorium and the way it was being handled was unconstitutional. And that his scholars were saying that it doesn't pass muster. And then he's like, oh, and then 2 seconds later, he's basically making it seem like, but we worked really hard to find these 2 guys that were hiding away, miles and miles away, that no one had talked to in hundreds of years. And they said, maybe we could get it done. It's like they were trying to just find someone that didn't believe in the Constitution that was somehow a scholar that would say, oh, you can do it. But my point is that in the light of like, when we're talking about civil liberty and taking away people's freedoms and the tyranny that seems to be, making its way into our government, using the CDC and using a pandemic and you could say national emergency or global emergency as a way to push policy is really honestly just downright evil to me.
Yeah.
And they're using the CDC. What does the CDC have to do with landlords and private business, right? And real estate. What does the CDC? Nothing. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What do they have to do with that? Absolutely nothing. But if you put it in that name, then it becomes like a humanitarian thing, right? And then they can get whatever they want done. What next year it'll be, the earth is going to blow up in a ball of fire, and so we're taking your cars. You can only drive 1 day a week, or everyone's going back to horse and carriage. Like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, thank goodness we didn't enact Green Party, because then we'd have the carbon tax, and not only do you have to pay for gas, but you have to pay for every fuel that you emit into the atmosphere.
Meanwhile, they're just
They'll
killing.
probably even tax you to breathe. They'll tax you on how much carbon
The carbon
dioxide
tax.
you emit into the atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see this going nowhere good. I mean, and it all boils down to the fact that I don't trust the people in power, and I think that they are corrupt, and I don't think they have their best interests at heart. I think they only have their own interests at heart. I don't care if they're on the right or the left. I think our system is, I can't say it like that. I think the people that are in power and the way they're operating our system is completely broken, and it lacks integrity. Really, I don't see any. And I think a lot of things need to change. I think we need different people in office, but when it comes to vaccines and COVID, I just question whether how much, if we were being told the truth, how much COVID would really scare us, or how much, to what extent COVID is really significant in society today, and how much of it is this constant COVID all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm not saying it shouldn't be taken seriously, but I in the light of vaccines, I question whether they, like you said, really want this to end. And if they don't want it to end, then we really have to question why we'd be listening to them at all. especially Mr. Fauci. Fauci flip-flop, flip-flop Fauci.
Flip-flop.
Hashtag
Yeah.
flip-flop Fauci.
That is it for today's episode. See you again next time on our channel, Black and White. As always, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.